operational efficiency and business process performance. So what do you think we are going to study in this chapter? What do you mean by efficiency? And what do you mean by operations? Yes, please. There are many departments in the organization. Okay, finance department, marketing department, sales department, purchases department, and research and development department. So these all are doing what? These all are the operations of the organization. These all are the functions of the organization. And who is heading these all departments? Chief Operating Officer. Who is operating these departments? Chief Operating Officer, COO. Okay, this is a designation in every organization. Every big organization, there is a designation called COO, Chief Operating Officer. So this person is taking care of all the operations, heading all the operations. All the relevant departments are reporting to this person. And this person, along with CEO, is reporting to the board of directors. Getting it? So now, you are doing CMA. So CMA is Certified Management Accountant. So till now, in the last syllabus, there were no financial aspects. But now, from now on, they have added a separate section on financial reporting as well in CMA. But the designation is still same, CMA. Okay. So as a management accountant, what you are doing? As a management accountant, what you are doing? You are thinking about the future. You are thinking about the financial accountant is not thinking about the future. Financial accountant is making the financial statements depending on the past. Whatever has happened, they will record it. As a management accountant, we have to focus on the future as well, because then we will make budgets and forecasts and all those things. Okay, that's why 30% of the syllabus is that area, budgeting and forecasting techniques, high weightage. Getting it? So what I want to tell you is that when you are focusing on the future, you need to analyze the efficiency of operations or not. You need to improve the operations or not, because the more efficient the operations, the more success organization will get. Otherwise there will be wastages, and stock outs, all those things. So there will be a loss for the organization. Getting it? So that's why this chapter is there. This topic you have to study. Why? Because as a management accountant, you need to be aware of the operations efficiency. And if they are not efficient, you need to recommend improvements. You need to make them more efficient. You need to make them more efficient. Okay? And the other part of the chapter is business process. Perform business processes. These all processes through which the product is going on. Like if you talk about a manufacturing organization, the product design, then purchasing, sales, manufacturing, all these things, customer service. These all are the processes through which the product has to go, and then you will sell it finally. So how to improve all those processes? What are the quality issues? How to do benchmarking? What is benchmarking? What is outsourcing? These all topics are covered in this chapter. Getting it? Very easy chapter. That's why I am starting from this chapter. Okay? Instead of the other chapter in which costing methods are there, like ABC costing and process costing. So moving on, my friends, these are the topics which we are going to study in first part of the chapter. The first part of the chapter is operational efficiency. The first part of the chapter is operational efficiency. So we are going to discuss about material requirement planning, just-in-time manufacturing, theory of constraints and throughput costing, outsourcing, and capacity concepts. Now, as you all are working in organizations, so definitely we need to plan. we need to plan. If you are not planning, then you will definitely going to lose. And a work well planned is a work half done. A work well planned is a work half done. If you plan in a good manner, half is already done, although you have not started the situation. Now, if I have planned this class, already I have planned this class, so half class I have already taken, the half I have to take. Getting it? If I have not planned the class, I don't know how to proceed the class, what topics to teach, then I will ruin the class. Getting it? So a work well planned is a work half. We plan every day, everything is going according to the plan. So now you need to do planning for material requirements. What is a material? I think so you know this from the earlier chapters. There are three things: material, labor and overheads. Okay, so material we need to make the product. Like if you are making tables, you need wood. Wood is a material. If you need to make petrol, crude oil is the material. Getting it? If you need to make car, so the metal of the car is the material. So in organization you are planning that how much material I need in the coming period. This thing you have done in budgeting as well. Sales, add closing stock, less opening stock, how much I need to produce. Then multiply with the material requirement, then again add closing stock, less opening stock, how much I need to purchase the material. This thing is in budgeting, when you make the purchases budget and when you make the production budget. Getting it? So now those things are covered in this topic. I am going to plan for the material. How much material I need to satisfy the demand. Getting my point? So basically I am planning. And there will be material in the warehouse as well. So this is called push system. Push. I am pushing the material. Pushing the material from the production department, from the purchasing department, from the warehouse to the production department. I am pushing the material. Getting it? So there are different advantages for this technique, because you are planning, so there will be less chances for stock out. There will be less chances for stock out, means no stock. So because you are planning in a good manner, so there will be no stock out. Getting it? But there will be high holding cost, because you have to rent a warehouse where you will keep this material, and then you will take some, and then you will again replenish it, then you will take some, then you will replenish. Getting it? So this is the traditional method where organizations used to plan their material requirements. Got this point? What is just in time? It is the opposite. In just in time, we are not planning the material requirement. A customer is coming to me, he is demanding, okay, I need the product, then I am calling the supplier, and supplier is giving me the material. So there will be no buffer inventory. There will be no safety stock. It means there is no warehouse. There is no receiving department. Order is coming, I am purchasing the material and satisfying the demand. No backup. Just in time. Getting this point? Okay. So just in time is called the pull system. Pull. I am pulling. Material requirement planning is the push system. You are pushing the material to the production department. Okay. But in just in time, you are pulling the material from the supplier. Pulling. Whenever you need, you are pulling. Getting my point? So examiner can ask you this thing, that which of the following is a push system or which of the following is a pull system. So at that time you need to remember these points. Getting it? And you need to make notes as well. Make notes. Don't sit still. Write something. Okay? These are the notes which you will use in your exam preparation, because I don't want you to read the book. You will not read the book. I will give you the slides. You will make my notes. What I am saying is the book. Whatever I am saying is the book. Okay? And you do the questions and you give the exam. That's it. Done? Third thing is theory of constraints and throughput costing. This topic is best understood by solving questions, which we will do after these slides, inshallah. Getting it? So when I will solve the question, I will tell you that what is in this topic. In an overview, I will tell you that constraint. What do you mean by constraint?
Problems or issues. Problems which will not help us to solve the program or the plan.
Problem.
We have capacity constraint, you say.
Constraint means limiting factor. Constraint means bottleneck, limiting factor. Okay, there is a limited availability of the material or limited availability of the labor, skilled labor I cannot find, for example. Getting my point? So this is called constraint. When you are making the product, maybe the material which you are using is in short supply. It is not easily available. Okay, or maybe the labor is not available. The skilled labor you need, it is not easily available. So this is called constraint. Or you have 3-4 departments, and one of the departments is very slow. So products, when they go in that department, they take more time to be ready, and the remaining departments are full ready and they are wasting their time to waiting for that department that once it issue the product, then we will finalize it. Getting my point? Okay. So this is called constraint. Now what is theory of constraint? We need to get maximum benefit from the constraint. We need to exploit the constraint as much as possible, not to waste it, not to waste. For example, if you are making a product which needs oil, and you are in a country where there is no oil as a mineral resource, so you are importing oil. So this is constraint. When you are importing the oil, this is a constraint, because it is not easily available in your country. You have to import it every time. So you need to try to make best possible use of that oil. You need to make best possible use of that oil. How to make best possible use of that oil? When we will do questions, then I will explain you. Getting this point? Okay. Now what is throughput costing? Throughput. In earlier chapters you may have done marginal costing, variable costing. Remember? So what is variable costing? Sales minus variable costs is equal to contribution, less fixed cost is profit. Remember? Because we consider fixed cost as an irrelevant cost. In management accounting, we consider fixed cost as an irrelevant cost in decision making. Now throughput is the refinement of variable costing, one step ahead. Nowadays, very well that labor is a fixed cost. Labor is a fixed salary, mostly. So in this type of costing method, we assume that labor cost is a fixed cost, not a variable cost. So just this is the difference. Labor cost is a fixed cost. So if labor is fixed cost, what is left? Only material. What is left? Only material. So throughput costing means you deduct only material cost from the sales, not the variable cost. You deduct only material from the sales, not the total variable cost. This is called throughput contribution. This is called throughput contribution, like this.
Is it conversion cost same?
No. So conversion cost, I will tell you what is conversion cost. Yeah, like if it is also coming ahead as well, I am writing here for you. Throughput contribution is sales minus direct material. That's it. No, not deduct direct labor, because labor I am considering as a fixed cost. I am assuming overheads, no. Only direct material as a variable cost we consider. In this type of costing method, we assume that labor is a fixed cost. And if you have calculated the overheads, variable overheads, so every time they tell you variable overheads are 100% of the labor cost, So if labor is fixed, so you don't consider the overheads as well, because they are depending on the labor cost. They are depending on the So in exam, if the examiner is asking you, calculate throughput contribution from the following information. So you just pick up the sales, just pick up the material minus this is the answer. We will do this. And what is the point to note? In throughput costing, labor is considered as a fixed cost. Why? Because nowadays you see labor is fixed. We give them salary, fixed salary. So this costing method assume this thing, not per hour basis. That $10 per hour. No. We give them a fixed salary, it is a fixed cost, irrelevant. Got this point? Outsourcing, very easy concept. You know what is outsourcing?
From the third party, the service or production or whatever is done by the third party, not the home.
Yeah. Why to outsource? Outsourcing means, for example, your accounts department. You're saying, I will not do accounting. I will hire some firm, accounting firm, they will do accounting for me. Okay, it means you are outsourcing. You are not doing it yourself, you are hiring some other person, other organization, they will do on your behalf. Okay, why to outsource? Cost reduce, because if you make a permanent department in-house, it will be more expensive to maintain, something like this. And the outsourced person, the cost may be lower, maybe. See this, maybe. It depends. It can be higher as well. Okay. Now see, you are an organization, and if you are hiring an employee, so his knowledge is not equal to that knowledge of that organization who is specializing in that thing, who is updating itself again and again. New technology they are adapting, and using new softwares. Every time I cannot do this thing, and very expensive for me. So it is better to hire an organization like this who have everything and they are continuously updating themselves, and I can use them. I can pay them and I can use them. Instead of hiring an employee, and in order to update this employee will be very difficult. And if he leaves me, everything is gone. Getting my point? Okay. So many advantages are there as well as disadvantages for outsourcing. But the main point is that why to outsource? When you want to focus on your core competence, when you want to focus on your core business, then you outsource a particular department which is not your core competence to focus. Getting it? For example, you want to focus on research and development, like these mobile companies, Apple. You want to focus on innovation and innovating new mobile phones every time, So accounts department you outsourced, or payroll department you outsourced, payroll salaries giving to the employees, or cafeteria you outsourced, these things. Getting my point? Or marketing you outsourced, the marketing, these things. To focus on your main business. This is the reason to outsource. Getting it? And some capacity concepts are there as well, we will discuss. Okay. So my friends, material requirement planning, I just told you, it is we will forecast the demand, and this is a push system, and you will set the timing and department flow, everything. There is set timings, when to purchase, from whom to purchase, how much to stock in warehouse, how much will be transferred to which department, when it will be transferred, everything. And this thing is normally written in the master production schedule. This is the name of that document which we make in this type of situation. Master production schedule, that when to purchase, from whom to purchase, when to transfer, whom to transfer. Getting my point? So everything is planned. Everything is planned in this system. And this is a push system. I am pushing the material into the production department depending on the forecasted demand. Maybe there is no demand because I have forecasted. Getting my point, everyone? Okay, this is a question for you. Now you need to do something like this. See this person, think like this, and see this question and tell me the answer. Which of the following is a benefit of this system? MRP means material requirement planning. Yes, raise your hands. If you want to tell the answer, raise your hand. And then tell me. Then I will give you a toffee. If you are right. Yes, please. Yes, please. A, B, C, D, like this. C. What's your name? Pradeem. Pradeem, in which company you work? GSSG. GSSG. What this company does? Okay. So, any other person? Raise your hand please if you want to answer this question. Okay, exam technique, first time I am telling you. Always remember there will be two definitely incorrect answers. Two are definitely incorrect. Two are the problems in which one is correct and one is the challenge for you. Okay, so this is MCQ technique. So eliminate those options which you think definitely they are not the answers. And think about this system. See, I am forecasting and I am pushing the material and I am planning everything. Why I am planning everything? Why there is a need to plan? Think about it, tell me. Yes, please, ladies. Anyone? Raise your hand. A. She is saying A. D. She is saying D. B. No, I don't need explanation. We will see what is the answer. Okay, answer is? Answer is? Okay, so he got the right answer. So he will get a toffee. You want? Okay. So now see, why C is the answer? Okay, why A is not the answer? They are saying potential inventory accumulations. I am planning the material requirement, so there should be no backup. There should be no, accumulation of the inventory. Otherwise, it will be an extra cost for me. I am planning in such a way that I am pushing into the production department. They are making it and selling. There should be no accumulated. What is accumulated? You are making and making and making. No, because we are planning everything in such a way that we are pushing from the warehouse to the production department in such a way that there should be no accumulation. There should be no accumulation. Getting this point? Why B is not the answer? They are saying possibility that manufacturing cells may receive. Cells means, manufacturing cell means a particular department who is making the product. Cell. A cell means a particular department who is making the product, producing the product. So I think possibility that manufacturing cells may receive parts that are not ready to process. So if you plan, this thing should not happen. You are receiving something which is not ready to process. What is this point? Getting this point? So this is definitely incorrect. You should receive when it is ready to process, because you are planning everything. See, planning. Getting my point? Why C is the answer. Predictable raw materials needs an ability to take advantage of bulk purchasing and other price breaks. So definitely when I am planning that when to purchase, from whom to purchase, so I am thinking like this, that I want bulk purchasing discounts. I want bulk purchasing discounts from the supplier. Whom to purchase, when to purchase. Because if you purchase on the spot, like in JIT, you purchase on the spot. When the customer came, you ordered. It will be expensive. It will be or not. So in this system, it will be cheaper for you because you are already planning. So you purchase on time, before time. Okay, and offers are going on, you purchase at that time and you got the discounts. Getting my point, everyone? Why D is not the answer? They are saying more coordination required between functional areas, which will increase interaction and already I made the coordination. When I am planning everything, I made the coordination. They are saying more coordination is required in this system. No, I made the coordination for them. They don't need to do anything. I have made master production schedule and I have specified that from whom to purchase, whom to transfer, when to transfer. So they don't need to have more coordination. Getting my point? This last point should be in JIT. This last point should be in just-in-time system, that there should be more coordination between functional areas, otherwise they will ruin everything. Getting my point, everyone? So C is okay? Why you are sad? Just in time, I just told you it is a pull system. We are pulling the material from the supplier. It is there is a comprehensive production and inventory control. Materials arrive exactly when needed. It eliminate the waste elimination. Why? Because you are so much focused on quality, because you cannot afford waste at that time. For example, supplier sent you the material and it is faulty and customer is waiting. If it is faulty, you are gone. Customer will go to other manufacturer. So you cannot afford default goods. So this is what you need to do. It requires close coordination with the supplier. You need to select the supplier in a very critical screening process, that which supplier I will choose, who will satisfy my quality control. And you will not do quality control. You have no time to do quality control. The goods are coming in, you are manufacturing, selling. So quality control you will not do, supplier has to do for you in this system. Getting my point? On the opposite side, material requirement planning, you have to inspect the goods. You have to inspect the goods as well. In JIT, you will not inspect the good. You have to select a supplier whom you trust and they can satisfy your trust. Getting this point, everyone? Characteristics of a JIT system, production organized in manufacturing cells. Now, remember I was telling you cells. Now, what is cell basically? In the same organization, in the production department, I am making 10 cells. Cells means, the machineries in a circle, for example, all the machineries, and the product will be made in that cell. The product will be made in that. So, a product can be made 10 times on the same floor. A product can be made 10 times on the same floor because 10 cells are there. So, every cell is producing the product. What is the difference between this cell system and other system? In other system, we have machinery spread all around the floor, and the product is inserting here and exit over there. So, at a time only one product is being produced. Getting this point? So, when you make cells, different cells, and there will be multi-skilled employees who will be making those products for you. And who is just working like in this area and they are producing the product. Similarly, a cell is working here producing a product like this. Getting this point? So, more products you can produce like this. Getting it? Okay? And the benefit is that if you have the linear type of a process, like I told you, not cell, if one machinery is down, the whole process is down. But if you have different cells on the same floor, so maybe there is problem in one machinery in one cell, so that cell will be closed, but the other cells are operating. Getting this point? So this is in just-in-time system, when you have to satisfy the customer demand very quickly, because the customer has came and you have to get the material from the supplier, make it quickly. If you will take more time, the customer will go to some other person. Getting this point? Then my friends, you need multi-skilled workers. I just told you there will be a reduced time, cells, I told you there will be less time you will take. Reduced lead times. Lead times? Lead time is the time which the supplier take to deliver you the product. Lead time is the time which the supplier takes to deliver you the product. So when you are operating in just in time, supplier knows that this person needs it quickly. So they will make it sure they deliver you quickly. Getting my point? Okay. and definitely you should have reliable suppliers, and if the suppliers are not reliable, you cannot be reliable. If they are out of the business, you are gone. If they send you faulty product, you are gone. Getting my point? Okay. Okay, there is something called Kanban. This thing I will tell you in the questions in detail. Kanban means you are showing a card. You are showing a card. This Kanban is a Japanese word, Kanban. Okay. So like like this, use Kanban, try Kanban, this just a picture. So like this, you are showing a card on the production floor. For example, vendor Kanban. Okay. Vendor means supplier. So what is vendor Kanban? It means purchase Kanban, production Kanban. These are some types of Kanban which I will tell you when we will do questions. So Kanban means visual record or card signals between departments. You show a card to them and they accept your request and they do that thing. For example, I am showing a card which says that purchase the material is going to finish. Material is going to, so I am showing the card. Like in football they show the cards. Yellow card, green card they show. Red card and yellow card. No green card. Okay, red card means you are out of the ground. Yellow card means don't do it again. Otherwise I will throw you out of the ground. Something like this in football. So next question, next topic. So which of the following is a benefit of a JIT system? Yes, please. Raise your hands if you know the answer. Raise your hand. If you know the answer, raise your hand.
What is the JIT system?
Just in time. We just did just in time. He is saying B. A. B. A. Wait. Toffees will finish. Which of the following is a benefit of a just in time system? No buffer inventory. Reduce lead time. Bulk purchase, fewer supplier stockouts. So my friends, if you have no buffer means safety inventory, safety stock, which you have kept so that later on if the supplier is not giving you, you can use that safety stock. Getting my point? This is a benefit of JIT or the limitation of JIT? Because you need buffer inventory, because the environment is very dynamic. So you need buffer inventory. And this is limitation of JIT system, that you don't keep buffer inventory. Not benefit. So A is not the answer. Who said A? No Toffee. Yes, you said A? Who said A? Two people said A. He said, okay. Reduce lead time. I just told you on the last slide, remember? Reduce lead time, supplier has to give you on time. So this, I am not saying this is the answer, I am saying this may be the answer. This, in exam when you are doing this MCQ, don't say this is the answer and click it, no. You will say this may be the answer, because two are remaining. Bulk purchase. In just in time you can do bulk purchase. Bulk means in high quantity you purchase. In that material requirement planning I can do bulk purchase. In just in time I cannot do bulk purchase. This is not benefit. Fewer supplier stockouts. Supplier stockout means there is a high chance of stockout, that supplier will not deliver you on time. In JIT this is the situation or not? Yes, this is the situation, but this is not the benefit, this is the limitation of JIT. That there are more supplier stockouts, high chances that there will be stockout, because you are not maintaining buffer inventory. Getting my point? So what is the answer?
This reduces lead time. It seems like not reducing lead time, because you don't have inventory. you need to get from the supplier, so there is a delivery timing. So if you have
In JIT system, we select a supplier who can deliver us quickly. I told you this thing.
But if you, it's compared to what you have in your inventory and what you will get from the suppliers, to get from suppliers takes more time than you compared to your in your inventory. So
We are talking about JIT.
okay, just
In JIT, there is no inventory at my warehouse. In JIT, there is no inventory at my. Customer is coming.
But this is the benefit of GIT, right?
Yeah, this is benefit of JIT.
So we are choosing GIT because of this benefit.
Yeah,
We are
because the
saying
supplier
that-
will deliver you in a less time. This is the benefit of JIT. That the supplier will deliver you less, he will take less time. Because you need it quickly. Then you will prepare it and
Less time than your inventory or less time than what? Less time than
less time supplier will take to deliver me the goods. This is called lead time. Okay? Got it everyone? Who said B? Who said B? Okay, later on you can take. Okay, these are some advantages and disadvantages. You can review. I will give you the slides in that folder. Now, theory of constraints and throughput costing. Remember, I was telling you constraint, limiting factor, and bottleneck. There is a limit, on the resource. And I told you this thing we will better do when I will do the questions. Now, there is one thing I want to say here, which is the last point: drum buffer rope system. What is drum buffer rope system? This is a very good concept. Drum, you know what is drum?
Yeah.
So, when the army people they march on the drum, the beats of the drum. Okay? So basically, when I am talking about the process, what is the drum in the process? On the beats of which all the other processes are marching, it means are running. That is the constraint basically. That is the constraint depending on which all the other processes are marching. A limiting factor, everything depends on this factor. Like when you made the budgets, so what is the first budget we make? Sales budget. So it's because sales is a limiting factor, demand is limit, there is a limit on demand. So the remaining departments march on the basis of sales. So I am saying sales over there is a drum. Sales is a drum on the beats of which the other processes or the other departments are running. Getting it? So in examiner can give you this concept and he can ask you what is drum in drum buffer rope system. So what is drum? Drum is the constraint. Drum is the constraint on which the other processes are dependent on the drum. Because if there is nothing in the drum, the other processes will be stopped. If you have no availability of that limiting factor, the whole organization will be stopped. Like if you have no oil, stop. No electricity, stop. Getting it? What is buffer? Remember we were talking buffer inventory. So basically buffer is the buffer inventory. Safety stock which you have kept for the constraint so that there is no stock out. Buffer is the amount of constraint, material, oil or anything which I have kept so that there is no stock out and the process should be running, the process should be marching. The process should be marching all the time, it should not stop. Getting my point? So that amount of buffer you need to keep depending on the constraint. Like for example, if you are importing the oil into your country, so you need to see the time the ship takes the oil and come to your port, and from the port the oil comes to your factory. So this thing you need to keep in your mind, and you should maintain your buffer oil. You should maintain your stock, buffered stock. Getting my point? Okay. And what is rope? Rope, rope? Rope. So rope means the whole process. Rope means the whole process. Okay. So this is drum buffer rope system. So just nothing calculation here, just a concept that drum is the constraint, buffer is the buffered stock, and rope is the series of processes. Okay, so examiner can ask you all of these three things in an MCQ and you need to click that option. Got it? Throughput contribution, remember I told you. What is throughput contribution? Sales minus direct materials, and labor is considered as a fixed cost. Steps in TOC, this we will do when we will do the questions. Managing constraint we will do when we will do the questions. Now see this thing, theory of constraint. What is theory of constraint? Focuses on eliminating constraint. You should try to eliminate the bottleneck. You do something. Like if the material is bottleneck for you, you should do something about it. Maybe you can select some other supplier who can supply you in good quantity, because the supplier from whom you are purchasing is not able to supply you that quantity which you need. So you can go for some other supplier maybe, or you can make up your factory in that place where it is easily available. You can shift your factory to that place where the material is easily available. Getting my point? Or if the skilled labor is in short supply, so you hire skilled labor. Or if machine hours are limited, you have no machines, so purchase machinery. Getting my point? To increase the number of hours availability. Getting my point? Okay. Or if a particular department is taking more time to produce a product, it is inefficient, so make it efficient, purchase new technology. Getting my point? So all these things you will do to eliminate the constraint and improving the time, so that the march is fast. You should be marching fast. It means the product should be made fast. Getting my point? And you are talking about long term now. See, when you eliminate the constraint, you are focusing on the long term, because otherwise every time you will be having stockouts. And in this theory you assume that direct labor cost is fixed. I told you, when we can, this both are attached. Throughput costing and theory of constraint are attached concepts. Getting my point? Okay. Now my friends, basically this is a question, so you tell me the answer. A, B, C or D? Really? A. Okay, I am telling you, there are two answers here. In this question there are two answers. So you need to tell me two options. Okay, see, there is a bottleneck, there is a constraint. So you will try to eliminate it in the short term or not? At least it should be eliminated in the short term. Later on I will talk about the long term. Getting it? So what should be the answer? Huh? D? A? I told you there are two answers. Yes. Who said? Yeah, A and C. Okay. So this is now see, this thing is ABC costing, which is in another chapter which we will do later on, which is called activity based costing. So once we do that thing, then I will explain you the difference between this method and ABC costing. That I cannot tell you now. So I have written here later on. Okay. Outsourcing, remember we were talking about outsourcing. Decision to purchase product service from an outside supplier makes versus buy decision, like you should make it in-house or you should buy from the supplier. The product we should make in-house and sell, or buy from the supplier and sell, which is cheaper, something like this. And it allows the firm to concentrate on the main business, your core business, like I told you. Okay, this is the reason to outsource. Yeah. Which of the following is a reason to outsource? Huh? B. Yes. Yes, Habibi. You, black shirt. What's your name?
Hassan.
Hassan. You replied on the group, I think so. Yeah. So tell me what is the answer? B. A. C. D. B. Anyone D? Who said B? She was saying B. Any other person was saying B? No. Now see, which of the following is the reason to outsource? Reduce privacy issues from improved supply relationships. When you outsource something, privacy issues arise because you are giving your data to an outside supplier. So this is a problem. So they are saying reduce privacy issues. No, increase privacy issues. Because you are giving your data, you are allowing someone else to get into your data. So A cannot be the answer. Who said A? Who said A? Tell me. Less dependence on a traditional supply chain. So my friends, there is less dependence or more dependence? Which of the following is a reason to outsource? Improved, because you are depending on the supplier. You are depending on the supply chain. Supply chain means, you can say supplier. The supply chains means manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, customer. This is called supply chain. So you are relying on some other person. So definitely there is dependence, more dependence you can say.
Or less dependence. For example, let's assume that we are cooking the food for our neighbors. We will hire the cooker, we will purchase from everything from different suppliers, oil, fish, and all the food. But if we outsource the food, we will just buy the food. And so instead of dealing with 10 suppliers, we will deal one supplier. So what is less dependence? We depend on one supplier instead of 10 suppliers. So what is the...
Remember I told you there are two options which are definitely incorrect and two options in which one is correct. Now according to your example, definitely you are okay. Now see, the answer will be one definitely, Answer will be. Now see, if you see the D option, what is the D option? Improved employee morale and loyalty. No, because when you are outsourcing the processes, so employee will feel that maybe my department is outsourced next year as well. Maybe they will redundant me or fire me. So this is not the answer because there is no improved morale. If you see point B and point C, now you are sitting in the exam and in theory questions this is the art. You are alright and you will select C for example. But the answer behind the system is B. So you got 0. Getting my point? According to his example is exactly correct. But if you talk about a single example and if you are not thinking overall, taking the overall picture, then you can do wrong. Like he is doing wrong at the moment. Because if the answer is B and you selected C because of your one example, you are gone. So you need to see what is the best possible answer basically. We are trying to see the best possible answer. So what is the best? If you see point B, access to new technology without obsolescence risk. Like I told you, I am hiring a person, I am maintaining a department. So there is a risk because they are not continually updating themselves. They will still run on their whatever they have learned. But if I hire an outside firm, they are continuously updating themselves. They are doing trainings for their employees, all those things. I can do as well, but not to that extent which they will do. Getting my point? So if you see B and C, now B and C you have to select, and B is the more correct answer if you see. C is also correct on his example, but the answer is B. Okay? This is MCQ technique I am telling you. In your view you are okay, but in exam you have to see the best possible answer. And this is the problem many students have, because in theory questions, and even last time my students told me that 50%, more than 50% of MCQs were theory. So that is the main challenge. If you are weak in theory, you need to be improving it now, because don't think that it is a calculation paper. More than 50% MCQs are theory. Getting it? So please, you need to select like this. You need to think like this, like I am telling you. Okay, and this can happen with maximum question practice. Okay, this you can study. Now see, capacity concepts. There are two types of capacity levels. One is called theoretical capacity, one is called practical capacity. Okay, when I am saying theoretical capacity, you are thinking ideal, like when you are young like me and not married, so you will think ideal, I want this type of a girl, or not, but that is not possible. And now I think so, because when you are married, you cannot get perfect thing. No one is perfect. So that is theoretical capacity on which you operate at that time, at my time. And now when you are married, you operate at practical, because now you know the reality. So now you know the losses and everything, maintenance cost, you have to bear something, okay, all those things. So capacity achieved under ideal conditions, which is not possible. You are assuming that the machinery will run 366 days a year, if it is a leap year, okay, 365 days, and there will be no stock out, no machinery breakdown, everything will go perfect. Impossible. Getting it? Because employees will go on leave, you need to maintain the machinery, you need to shut down it for some days, all those things will happen. There can be a natural disaster, okay, electricity shortage, anything can happen. So that is practical capacity, where you consider all those things and you say, okay, in this year we are planning to produce 10,000 units. In this year we are planning to produce 10,000 units by utilizing 100,000 machine hours and 200,000 labor hours and 300,000 kilograms of wood. So these things you are calculating after deducting normal loss, all those things. Getting this point? Okay, so the overhead absorption rate which you have calculated in that chapter, absorption costing, overhead absorption rate, it is budgeted overhead upon budgeted activity. So that budgeted activity is this practical capacity, not ideal capacity. So that value was this practical capacity which you think can be possible, not impossible. Getting my point, everyone? So this was the area operational efficiency. Easy, difficult? Easy, difficult? Very easy, not easy. Okay? Okay, we will continue to business process performance, the other part of the chapter. This is very short and easy one. We will talk about value chain analysis. Anyone knows about value chain? Porter value chain? Michael Porter value chain? Anyone has done strategic management type of a course in your bachelor's or master's anywhere? No? Value chain, in which we have some activities, supporting activities, primary activities. No? Okay, I will tell you. Then we have some process analysis, business process re-engineering, dynamic change in the processes, completely changed everything. Change management. Benchmarking, what is benchmarking? Can you tell me what is benchmarking? Yeah, like you people are in this class, you can benchmark with the earlier batch which I have just taught, the earlier batch of CMA. Your marks you can benchmark with them maybe, okay, or I can benchmark my pass rate with their pass rate, or with some other teacher here in Doha or in other country, I can benchmark. Similarly, your organization's profit, you can benchmark with the competitor's profit, with the industry average. Getting my point? Okay, comparing to improve, comparing to improve, not to have jealousy. Don't be jealous, you need to improve. Getting it? So ABC versus ABM, again this is ABC costing thing, I will do later on when we will study that chapter. Continuous improvement, as the name suggests, you need to continuously improve your processes if you want to win in the market. Best practice and this is very important topic, cost of quality components, and at least one question expect on this thing in the exam. I will tell you what is this. So value chain analysis, my friends, basically is this, Michael Porter's value chain. Okay, now what is value? I purchased wood for $100. I purchased wood for $100. Till now I have not done anything. And I am making a table to sell. A very good table, not like this. So now everything which I am doing on this wood to make it a table, and I am saying, okay, I will sell this table for $1,000. I purchased the wood for how much? $100, and I will sell the table for $1,000. What is the gap? This is value. This is called value which I have created in that wood, because that wood had no value. That wood had no value. I created the value in that wood that I am able to sell it for 1,000, and the customer is willing to pay me 1,000. This is called value, because the customer is seeing value in this thing. Like iPhone 6, they launched it. iPhone 6, 6 Plus. They lost it because of that bending issue. Bending issue, sales are very low. Even my friends, they were planning to buy, but they bought S5, or they bought that what is that, Note 5 or Note 3, Note 4. So see, they lost the customers because of this thing, because they were not able to maintain their value in the market. Getting it? But still many people purchased, but most of them they sold. They are still on 5S or not. So basically what I am saying you is, when you are making a product, any product or service, you need to have some value which the customer will see, and then they will pay you, and then they will buy the product, because there are many substitutes available in the market nowadays. So you need to be best in the market. When you go to a shopping mall, there are a lot of outlets over there. You can purchase your clothes and everything, but you go for a specific outlet, maybe you like it, or you like the brand, or you like their cloth, So that thing means you see some value over there. Like you came here for your studies, it means you saw some value over here. I don't know what is that value, but definitely you saw some value. That's why you registered here instead of some other training center. Getting this point? Whenever you purchase anything, you see value and then you pay. Getting it? So basically, you need to create value in the product which you are dealing with in your organization, and you need to eliminate those activities which the customer is not valuing. Which the customer is not, like I feel that giving handouts is a non-value adding activity. Giving handouts, I personally feel this thing. So what I have done is, I will give you online access, because nowadays everyone is online. So you go online, these slides are there, watch it. No need to give you printouts. Getting it? Similarly, I gave you software. Now you will open the software, I will open the software, we will do the questions. Instead, I take snapshots, I make the handout, I photocopy it and then give you. So I am also protecting the environment as well, like this, So this is because I see no value. You should also not see value in the handouts. There is no value. Getting it? Okay. So basically there are two types of processes. You see, same thing is there. One is called primary activities. These are primary. I have attached these both of things because these they have written core processes, because examiner can also use this word, which is primary activities. So core processes or primary activities is same thing. Okay. So, and this one is called support processes. Now see, in your organization, the product is coming in, it is called inbound logistics. You purchase from the supplier. Inbound means inflow in the organization. The material is coming in. Then you will do what? It will go in operations, you will produce, you will make, labor and overheads. CC, conversion cost. And then what will happen? You will sell it. Selling department is outbound. Outbound logistics means distribution and selling. Then this needs marketing and sales. In the meantime, you need to do marketing and sales so that the customer purchase your goods. And after, you will not sit down and sleep. You have to do customer service. Like if you are dealing in warranty type of things, after sales service, you have to take care of this thing as well. So these all are the primary processes of an organization. Not manufacturing, every organization. Mr. Potter says this thing. I am not saying Mr. Potter, okay? And then, see, this is all your cost or not? This is your cost. Purchasing, operating, selling, distribution, marketing, sales, after sales service. This is your cost, primary cost. And you need to see that which cost is value adding and which cost is non value adding. And you need to eliminate that cost. It means which activity customer is giving value and which activity customer is not giving value. Getting my point? Now these processes are supported by these 4 things, which are called support processes. Infrastructure, your everything, equipments, tools, machineries, this is infrastructure which is helping you to make the product. Human HR management, the hiring of skilled people who value your values and who are experienced in their particular field, okay, and they can help you succeed. Technology, definitely, nowadays if you are not keeping yourself updated with technology, you are gone. It doesn't mean purchase iPhone 6, okay. Keeping up yourself updated with technology doesn't mean iPhone 6, iPhone 7, no. Getting it? And procurement means basically purchasing department. Procurement means purchasing. Procurement means purchasing. So these are the support, because purchasing department is supporting me to produce. If they will not purchase right quantity at the right time from the right supplier, I am gone. Or not? Getting it? Now see, this is also my cost or not? These all are my costs. And then you are adding up, and then you will sell it. Finally, selling price, you will set a selling price, you will sell it. So basically you need to try to make these activities as value adding as possible for the customer, because if you have non value adding activities, so if you have non value adding activities, your cost will increase because of that activity. Your selling price will increase, your competitiveness will decrease. Getting this point? If you have a non-value adding activity because of which customer is not interested in that activity, but your cost is going up, your selling price will go up and your competitiveness will go down. You're getting my point? Because other products are cheaper as compared to your product, so the customer will purchase that product. So you need to eliminate the activities which are not valued by the customers. Getting this point? Now see, business process re-engineering. I am not teaching you engineering. Okay, this is a word we use in this topic. Basically you need to eliminate all the non-value adding activities, like I am telling you again and again, eliminating all the non-value adding activities, radically changing the process. Because some organizations, they are doing the same process from last 50 years and just with minimum changes. So basically they are losing. So you need to completely revamp the situation. This is called re-engineering the production floor with new machineries and new people and new layout, everything. Because it affects the efficiency, the lighting and everything, the environment. Like if you know about the Google environment, how Google operates, check it out on YouTube, go Google. So see how they have their environment in the office. That's why they are innovating. Employees are sitting on t-shirts and everything on the floor, enjoying, There are slides, slides to go to the cafeteria. Okay, all these things. Because they want their employees to be happy. There are carts, electricity carts, they can use them. There are nurseries for their children, they can drop them. There are separate gyms, spas, everything within the office building. So they don't need to think about anything else, just innovate and innovate and innovate. Question. A technique for improving performance of activities and processes that searches for best practices. B. Anyone else B? B. Are you sure? A technique for improving performance of activities and processes that search for best practice is, yeah, getting my point. If I am giving this question after the teaching that topic, it doesn't mean that is the answer. Getting it? So A is the answer, which is the next topic. Huh? Yeah, benchmarking, Habibi. See this thing? Like cricket, and I am giving you a ball on the leg side. You're thinking I am giving you a ball on the leg side. Why? Because I have set the field on the leg side. So you think I will give you ball on the leg side. But I gave you a Yorker and you are bowled out. You are thinking, okay, I will give you some ball to play here. I gave you a Yorker, you are gone. Like this. Examiner will give you like this. So don't expect something like this. Getting it, everyone? So my friends, what is benchmarking? I just told you. You were telling yourself as well. We are searching for the best practices in the industry to compare our performance. Okay, benchmarking can be external as well as internal. Benchmarking can be external as well as internal. How? You are comparing your department with the other departments within the organization, or you are comparing your department with the department of the competitor organization. Getting my point? Okay, and this is a point many people confuse is, you don't see your competitor. It is not necessary to see your competitor. You can see other companies as well to benchmark, because every company has finance department, every company has sales department. So it is not necessary to only see your competitor. You can see other companies as well, other industries as well. Maybe you can get something new from that industry and you can use it to have competitive edge in your industry. Getting this point or not? Okay, continuous improvement in Japanese it is called kaizen. This is a Japanese word, continuous kaizen, which means continuous improvement, because Japanese people, they continuously improve. So these all concepts are coming from there. So what is the process? You analyze the situation and understand the situation, and you plan it, you take decision, and you report it to continuously improve. Again, you analyze yourself. You analyze yourself and understand yourself to continuously improve. How you will continuously improve? You plan how I need to react now after understanding yourself, because now you know how much you have deficiency, the gap, the gap. Then you take an action, a solid action, a bold action. Okay? And then finally you will do reporting to whom? Now as an individual you will report to yourself that have I done an improvement or not. In organization you will report to your superior. Getting my point, everyone? So this is a process, very easy, continuous improvement. So this is just to read, you can read it through when I will give you the slides. So if you have any issues you can ask me later on. Now this is the main topic, cost of quality components. There are 4 types of quality costs. Number 1 is called prevention cost. Number 1 is called, you have a process of making the product. These are those costs which you incur to prevent waste. To prevent waste. You can have skilled labor, high quality material you purchase. So you are preventing waste. There should be no default later on. Before inputting into the process, if you do all these things, you have a good machinery, skilled labor, good quality material. So when you input all these things together, this is called prevention. You are trying to prevent the waste. You are trying to prevent the waste. What is appraisal? Appraisal is during the process. So my friends, appraisal cost is during the process. Like those people who are supervising the process, supervisors, their cost. You may have seen on National Geographic or Discovery channels as well, when they tell about biggest those programs, they talk about big factories like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, they show it. So the product is moving all the way around, they fill the bottle, they cap the bottle, and it is moving throughout the factory. So the cost which is going on throughout the factory, and they are saying, okay, there should be no default, all bottles should be up to the mark. That is called appraisal cost, which is going during the process. What is prevention cost? Before the start of the process. What is appraisal cost? Those costs which you are incurring during the process. Okay, statistical measures, techniques, So those all robotics are dealing with all the products, during the process. So that is. So, and third thing is internal failure cost. What is internal failure cost? Product is finished, ready, but it is default. The product is not up to the mark. The product is, there is crack. There is a crack in the product, for example. So this is your internal failure. Now what to do? Repair it, or if it is not able to repair, you have to scrap it. You cannot sell it, otherwise you will lose name in the market. Getting my point, everyone? Like, let me give you an example. 2 days before I purchased that, what we call that Al-Marai thing, okay, and in which they fill that za'atar and chocolate. There are different flavors for that sandwich type of a thing which they sell. Yeah. So I purchased that one, that za'atar and cheese, that one, and there was no za'atar and cheese in that. When I opened it, there is nothing in this. Then I went back and I showed him that, see, it is written that this thing is inside this sandwich and there is nothing in this sandwich. So when the truck come to you next morning, tell him this thing and take the new one for me, otherwise no worries. So I went the next day, so he said, yeah, we gave with them and this is the new one for you. Then I opened in front of him to check, is there something here or not? There was it. So see, that was internal failure cost which they were not able to recognize, because they are making that product and there should be that za'atar and cheese in this thing which was not there. But I was not expecting this thing, a high branded company, but still it can be possible, because risk can never be eliminated. Risk can never be eliminated. But I will still eat. I am not saying I will leave it, but just it was the case with me. So this is called internal failure costs. Getting my point? Now this is not internal failure, this is external failure. How? Because they sold, they were not able to recognize it. They sold and unfortunately I was the one to purchase it. So now I purchased it and I got to know it is faulty. And now see, I am telling you people, you got to know about it. So this is negative goodwill creating. I am creating negative goodwill for that company, for example. But still we will purchase the products. So this is called external failure cost, loss of customer goodwill. The customer will not purchase later on, or they will return you the good and you need to scrap it, then you need to refund them, all these things. So what is prevention? Before the start of the process, the cost you incur. Appraisal during the process. Internal failure, the product is ready but it is faulty, you have to scrap it or you need to rework it. And external failure means you sold the good and the customer came back and he returned you the good. You need to refund, you need to repair, or you need to scrap, all these things. A must question in the exam. Getting it? Chapter finished.